Hey, friends. Hey, how are you? How are you all doing? What's going on? What's happening? Talk to me. As always, it's a pleasure to be here with you live. And if you are here with me, definitely let me know. Always love to make it an interactive experience and just connect with you all. I hope you've all been doing fantastic and just want to let you know that I appreciate you. And I'm super excited about today's episode of Real Talk. I always have just incredible guests, and today is just going to be super fun and dynamic and magnetic. I promise you, it's going to be amazing. And I really am blessed that I get to do this. So, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Real Talk, where I get to have real life, raw conversations with incredible people from my circles and communities who overcome challenges and create amazing. Today, my incredible guest is multi-Grammy Award winner and world-renowned lead vocalist for Carlos Santana, Tony Lindsay. As the lead vocalist for Carlos Santana for 25 years, internationally known Tony Lindsay is the longest tenured lead singer of Santana. He first joined the band in 1991 and performed with Santana from 1995 to 2015, the group's period of greatest commercial success, during which it released the album Supernatural and won 11 Grammy Awards, including Record of the Year, Album of the Year, and Best Rock Album. That was actually one of my all-time favorite albums, and it still is. Tony grew up in Kingston, New York, and began performing in an a cappella group when he was just 9 years old. In 1980, Tony moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, and upon arriving in the Bay Area, Tony took a job at the Guitar Center in downtown San Jose and sold suits at a department store. He performed with Danny Hill Quintet at local bars and restaurants, and the band evolved into Spangalang, a band which Tony continues to perform with to this day. Former Tower of Power members Chester Thompson and Ron Beck recruited Tony to audition for Carlos Santana at his San Rafael studio. Overnight, Tony went from playing small clubs to amphitheaters around the world. Tony was Santana's principal vocalist during the release of Supernatural, one of the best selling recordings of all time, with more than 30 million copies sold worldwide. It's amazing. Grammy winning producer Narada Michael Walden has been quoted as saying, Tony Lindsay is one of the world's greatest singers. We know and we revere Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder, and Ray Charles. Tony Lindsay is on par with all three of those. Please help me welcome the incredible Tony Lindsay.
Wow. Make me sound like a serious superstar.
You are a superstar.
Ray Charles and all of them. Oh my God. Dang.
Hey, own it.
I'm gonna have to take a look at myself again.
Yes, own it. It's so awesome to have you today. Thank you so much. I know you're super busy because you're working on new tracks. Congratulations on,
I'm always
Never.
doing something.
You are. And so awesome. Your new single Never is climbed the indie charts. I think the last time I looked it was at number
Yeah.
2 or 3. So that's amazing.
Yeah, and I got a new single that's out now. I Can't Help Loving You. That one's it internet because what I like to do is when I see one of the songs kind of back the chart a little bit, I like to go ahead and release another one, and so one is coming back, the other one's moving forward, that kind of
That's
thing.
awesome. And I love that. There's so much to talk about, but I love that about you, and that's what inspires me about you is, and we've talked about this, and I say, gosh, Tony, typically people get to a point in life where they're, it's like, okay, I'm 50, I'm 60, that's
Hmm.
it. And next month you're going to be 69 and you're still
I
touring
know.
and performing, and your voice still sounds amazing and soulful and your energy. And I admire that.
I
I really
appreciate that.
I
I
want to
really
be
do.
like Tony Lindsay when I'm 69.
Well, you know what? It's all about how you take care of yourself when you're younger too. I
That's
know a lot of guys that were doing some seriously hard partying when we were in our 20s, 30s, and 40s, and they don't realize that that stuff is going to catch up with you when you get in the older ages there. So, and I work out all the time. I used to play a lot of basketball, but I
I
stopped
know
doing
that.
that. You know, yeah, because I had a torn meniscus, so I stopped doing that, but now I just swim.
That's what you're
Swim and I
saying.
hit the steam room. That's it.
That's what you're saying.
I
And so
love
it
it.
sounds just like for us to continue to thrive later in life, we really need to look at how we treat ourselves and our bodies earlier in life. Like
That's
just
right.
not just you just don't get there and you're healthy. It's like it's a process. And I can vouch for that. I'm constantly working on my future self. Not that I'm not present, but reminding myself like if I do this now, how's it going to affect me in the future? Because I want to be like
That's
Tony
right.
Lindsay. I want to be on the road when I'm 69.
Well, when you're younger though, you don't think about that stuff because we think we're invincible. So
That's right. That's right.
yeah.
I was
Oh, I
listening.
got I got some stories I could tell, but
I know, and I want to
they
hear those stories.
well, yeah, but some of those involve some other people that I
Well, we
couldn't
don't
tell
have to
you.
say names. We don't have to say names. So one of I'm gonna get emotional, but one of the most incredible nights that, I experienced, I've had amazing, amazing times in my life. But one of the nights that stand out the most is when Mike and I came to Las Vegas and we got to see
Wow.
you with Santana. I'm getting emotional. Why? In the House of Blues, and we were on the floor. Now, I was not doing drugs. Had I had a couple of drinks, sure. But we were on the floor, like, literally right in front of you and Santana, and Tony, let me tell you, like, we had it was an out of body experience, and I'll never
Wow.
forget that because just being in that room, it was an intimate crowd and the flow of the music, and I think that's why I'm getting emotional because that was one time that I just felt like there was just something, like, greater than all of us in that room that night, and
Well,
I wasn't.
yeah, but you know what? The other thing that might have given you that feeling too, because I did experience a lot of the kind of stuff with the Santana band, because it was just that kind of band that some of the most of the nights we would it hit at a level that was like, oh my god. And then even some of the nights where we thought it wasn't that good, we'd listen, check it out the next day or a couple of days later and go, what the heck were we thinking? That was freaking awesome.
Oh,
But
man.
the other thing is the connection. Because, see, I knew you and Mike, especially playing basketball with Mike all the time, back in the day. So that added another connection to it, which you guys are probably like, I can't believe it. I see this guy at the YMCA.
That's true.
And
That's could be totally part of it because we were just because we know you and we love you. Like we are part of that whole magic, and I
exactly.
and that flow, and that's something music does for me. It puts me in that flow and that connection. But that night was incredible. So I just wanted to thank you for that
I
experience.
appreciate that. Yeah, because you definitely with I've been through went through many changes in that Santana band with different members coming in, but every single time we went through whatever changes it was always great.
Well, also,
Yeah,
because you all knew the intention, and when things are, there's an intention and there's an alignment, it's just that flow and that connection is so
yeah.
powerful. And I'm an addict to that, and now that we're talking, it's like I'm addicted to the connection. I'm addicted to the flow, and I'm
Hmm.
constantly wanting that. And that's why, like you talked about loving to be around people. I love being around people that are in that flow that I can get connected to because that fills me. It makes me feel good. I feel fulfilled when I'm interacting that way,
Hmm. Yeah, I get it.
right?
That's what music will do that to you. That's why I've been doing this all my life, and I there's other things I could have done, but I'm like, why?
I know, it's so fun. It's so fun. I admire you.
Yeah,
So I know as, a young boy in Kingston, New York, you talked about, singing on the corner with your cousin and your friends, and you were the
yeah.
kid that would sing the Santana songs.
Isn't that a trip?
That's
We
a
were
trip.
doing well. We had a after a while, after we got out of the a cappella stage of the band, we had the a small. That's actually the guitar player, drummer, and a bass player was our backup band, and the guitar player. Of course, he's a guitar player. He's gonna love all of that Santana
Yeah.
and Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff and all that. So he's like, man, we should do some Santana stuff. So we started doing Black Magic Woman and stuff like that. And I had no idea. I mean, I was my early teens at that time. Had no idea.
Did you ever fantasize that, "Okay, one day I'm going to play for Santana," or did that even cross your mind? Did you have an inkling? I mean, that's
It
amazing stuff.
it wasn't actually Santana, but doing stuff at the level
Yeah,
of the Santana band, I always wanted to do, but I
yeah,
had no idea if I was going to end up there doing it as a solo artist or being connected with somebody else doing it. But hey, whichever way it happened, I was ready for it. So
that's right, just being open. And so one of the questions I have is, there's so many, um, talented people that want to go to that level, and sometimes maybe they just don't believe in themselves or it doesn't happen. Did you just know? Did you have a belief? Did you have the conviction? Like, what got you to that level?
you have to see yourself there.
Mm,
If you can't see yourself in a certain spot, throughout life, then you're never going to get there because that's not your goal. I'm still, even with all the stuff that I've done, and now that I'm completely an indie artist, which I love because I can do anything I want anytime I want to do it. I don't have to follow anybody's rules
I
except for
love
the
that.
ones that I make up myself.
I
But
love that.
yeah, and one of the biggest things is like I want to hear my songs on the radio, and you know what? That's happening now. So what
Yes.
I'm what I'm what I'm aiming for is getting my stuff to be played on Sirius XM and Music Choice and all of that, which is a little bit harder to do because I mean I got a lot of connections, and everybody that I talk to for some reason they say, "Hey, I can get you there," but they just can't do it. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I know I'm going to land there because I've been putting out a lot of tunes that have been hitting the number one
Yes, you have.
spot on these charts, and somebody's listening. I
Amen.
know they are.
And I love that, and thank you so much for validating that for myself, because same thing in my career, I'm ready to take it to the next level, and I'm just
Yeah,
not sure, how to get there exactly. And I said, "You know what? As long as I keep showing up and doing my thing, there's going to be an opening." And I've also learned that if you get if someone tells you no, it's the wrong person. You're
yeah.
talking to the wrong person. Go to the next person.
Do not listen to any negativity.
Amen
I
to that.
I get away from that so quick, man. Once people start going negative on me, I mean, you know what? I gotta go. I
That's
gotta
right.
go.
That's right, and I know sometimes I've been called, "What's wrong with you? You have rose-colored glasses on." Believe me, I do not have rose-colored glasses on. I know exactly what's going on around me, eh,
Yeah,
but I choose to focus on moving forward, because that's what like, I don't wanna be distracted by all this, bogus. I really just wanna live my greatest potential, and I wanna have fun because it's not fun
yeah.
being the negative. It's really not. It's
Well,
more
you know
fun
what?
creating.
One thing you have to remember, there's always a lot of, especially if you're doing stuff that's positive and you see a lot of really great results coming from it, there's always folks out there that want to do something to keep you down.
I've
Yeah.
recently I've recently
Mi-
experienced that.
oh yeah. Misery loves company. And
That's for
that
damn
that is
sure.
the truth.
Yes. Yes.
That is the God's honest truth. And I stay away from that crap.
Ditto.
Whether it's in a relationship with your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, husband, whatever the heck it is. I once this thing starts getting negative, I got to leave the room
Yes.
because I don't
Yeah.
want to hear that and I don't want to feel it.
I'm with you, just keeping that vibration up. But
Oh
what
yeah,
happens? I mean, like, I fall into the imposter syndrome, I fall into my doubt, I fall into my fear pictures, and, I work on getting myself out of there. But how do you ever have doubt or fear, and if you do, like, how do you get over that?
uh, I don't. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't have that the kind
I
of
love
thing.
it. Once
I
you get
just
now you don't give a ugh, you just keep it moving.
if I get an idea about something, I'll try it, and if it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work.
Mhm.
But at least you tried it.
Yes.
You know. But everything we fear, it always turns out it's not as crazy or as bad as we think it's going to be. Once you start doing it, you go, man, what was I tripping about?
You're so right. Do you know that it took me 3 years to be able to come on live? Like, it took me 3 years of fear,
Really?
and now I just every week I have a podcast, and when I look back,
What
I'm like,
was the what was the fear?
"Oh, I'm my it was judgment." being criticized, being judged, being hated on. That was the fear. That was the fear,
Yeah, but
and I worked
yeah, but
through it.
that's a positive thing too, though.
I know. I know when I got bashed on, my coach was like, "Oh, congratulations. That's a good
Yeah,
sign you're doing something right."
exactly.
So,
It's like, yeah, as soon as you do something like that, people go, why are people bashing her? Let me check this out.
you're so right.
You know, oh yeah,
You're
that brings a whole different audience. I mean, a perfect example is look at our ex president. You know, this guy has done all kinds of things, everything wrong, and all he has to say is, "Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't do it," and people are still supporting him. Like, you can't get any more negative than that,
well, that's
and get
part of
the
you're totally right because it's part of the negativity bias. Like we
yeah,
go to what's negative, it gives us that dopamine rush, that dopamine hit. Um, so you're totally right. So
yeah.
I
Hey, you
guess
know what? You believe, just believe in yourself.
that's it. And that's part
That's
of,
it.
the journey is just believing. I'm learning, like, believing in myself, and the other noise does not matter. Those distractions, don't matter. What
Yeah.
matters is, like you said earlier, that you have a vision, you have a goal, you believe in it, and you move forward. And you're a great example of that. So going back, which I love Tower of Power. Actually, Mike and I had a chance to see them at Yoshi's with the original singer. He was amazing, and I don't remember his
With
name, but he
Lenny,
passed away.
was it Rick Stevens or Lenny
I
Williams?
he was sent away for a very long time.
Oh, he was in prison. Yeah, Rick, he died
I
back a few
know.
years ago.
And so look how amazing this is. So we go to Yoshi's and there's this really cool cat sitting at the bar, and I go to Mike, I'm like, "That guy has to be someone. Like, he looks too cool, like, too." So it ended up being Rick, and he got up and did a set, and he was, amazing. So I love Tower of Power, but going back to that day when they invited you to go audition for Santana, like, were you nervous?
Actually, no, I wasn't nervous at all, and I'll tell you why. Because at that time period, I was doing, I mean, recording sessions. I was working with Narda Michael Walden constantly as one of the first call background singers. So I was always up at his place doing recording sessions, and I was doing a ton of jingles with this other company called Keller and Cohen. They were based in Sausalito. So I would go to Keller and Cohen and do these jingles, commercials for
Nice,
California raisins and car companies and all that. I'd be up there at least 4 or 5 times a week and doing sessions at Nardas and working with my band Spangling and all that. I was making a ton of money. So
nice.
when the audition thing came up, Chester Thompson is the one that is put the recommendation in, and everything worked out perfect because the day I did the Santana audition, I had to do a recording session at Narda Michael Walden's place. The Narda Michael Walden studio and where Santana was doing the auditions, which was right near his office, were like 3 blocks from each other. So
It's meant to
I
be.
stopped by there. I stopped by and did the audition first. They sent me a tape of a few songs. We ended up doing maybe 2.5 songs for that audition. And Carlos said, "Well, I heard enough." So I didn't even think any more about it. I left, went over to do my session with Narda, and when I got home that evening, there had to be about 10 voicemails on my answering machine from the Santana office. Hey, call us back. Carlos really likes you. He wants to know if you want to do that. And that was it.
That's amazing. How
I
fun.
hate I hate doing auditions. I hate it. And I know most people do. So I went in with the attitude, no big deal because I'm doing just fine, what I'm doing. Plus I was writing a lot of stuff and I was shopping to a lot of different record companies because I was trying to get a deal for myself. So I
It
had a lot of stuff in the mix at that time.
So you really had no attachment to it. You were open to the outcome, and just because you didn't have
Exactly.
attachment, it just, it goes back to the
It
the laws.
it just happened,
There was no
you know?
resistance. And you had been planting the seeds for a while
Yeah.
anyway. It wasn't just, overnight.
It was great because I don't like doing auditions, and this one worked out perfect. Three
I love
blocks
it.
from each other. I went and
I
did
love
one, and made it to my session on time, and I didn't think any more about it. got
Amazing.
home, and it was like, oh wow,
So
dang.
so what was that like? I know that I've talked to Sammy Toda, in the past, and he toured with Santana as well.
S- Sammy did.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He well, when I had him on, he talked to me about being, it was like a European tour, and then, he was a young kid at the time. Then he came home, so he was on this European tour with Santana, and it was amazing. And then he'd come home and, go back to his normal life. So it was kind of, such a contrast for him. And so I was going to ask, going and touring the world and then coming back, you know, that's like you're so high, you're in the flow. Like, how do you come back to normal life?
Easy,
Easy.
because it's very easy. And I always told the guys, other guys in the band, the one thing that a lot of people make a big mistake with doing when they get a big gig like that, everything that they were doing at home, and they kind of just drop all of that stuff and they concentrate on doing the big gig. I always kept all my stuff going here at home. I always have my band, so I would
Right.
book, since I got the Santana tour schedule. I would book all my stuff around that, with the stuff that I was doing at home with recording sessions and doing live gigs with my band and all that kind of thing. Because I would leave myself 2 days before I went on tour just to get myself back in, into being in that frame of mind of touring again and hitting the big stage. And I would give myself 2 days off when I came home so that I could, get back to reality with doing my own thing. And I never let any of that stuff go. That's why I never missed a beat.
Mhm. I
Never
mean,
missed a beat.
how do you stay so grounded? It's like you're so committed and consistent and grounded. Like, what help us out here. Like, how do you stay so grounded? Because it's not easy to be grounded in life, period, especially, in doing what you're doing.
Well, you gotta. My mom always told me, she said, you know what, you keep everything at an even keel.
Mhm.
Don't get too high with the highs. Don't get too low with the lows, because
Right.
then, people that do that, they're always up and down and they're emotional. Listen, I always kept things at an even level. So I never got over emotional or got down on myself. And and you have to know your talent and your ability too, and the things that you can do. Because while you're out there, I tell you, there's people that come at you and they'll try to break you down. So you have to be strong and make sure that you're strong in your talent and your beliefs and ability and all that. And don't let anybody shake you. You can't let anybody, once they get in and pierce that, how that word I always use. You can't let them break your spirit.
That's right.
Once
So
they break your spirit, you're no good for anything.
you're totally right, and that's you're totally right. And how did you cultivate this resilience? How did you cultivate this attitude?
Just born and raised that way. I came out of a family like that, you know?
And what was it within the family that helped, cultivate that self-worth and that resilience?
Well, I think it was with my parents. They never stood in my way of anything that I wanted to do. As long as I was doing stuff on a positive level, I never got any resistance from anybody in my family. Always got support.
And what did that
And
support look like? Like, how did they encourage you? Because, you want to say,
oh
"I
my,
want to be a musician," like my son, and I'm like, "Okay, so that sounds great." But I know if I had told my parents, like, "I want to be a musician," they'd be, "What's wrong with you? You're crazy. That's
of
stupid."
course, yeah, and I never got that. My dad used to work in the hotels back in upstate New York. And every time they would have some type of banquet or something like that, he said, "Hey, my son and them, they got this little singing group. You should have them, let them come in and sing." We would go in. Here I am, 8, 9, 10 years old. We got an a cappella singing group. We go in there with our tuxedo pants on, with cummerbunds and ruffled shirts with the bow ties and all that. And we go in there with patent leather shoes and doing our routines and singing. And before we leave there would be so much money out in the middle of that floor
I
from
bet.
all those people. Unreal. That's the kind of encouragement we got, and other adults that played guitar and stuff like that, or were in singing groups that were doing the kind of stuff that we wanted to do. They all got behind us and say, "Hey, this guy, Wayne Henderson, who passed away a couple years ago. He taught us how to sing harmonies and all that kind of stuff.
That's
You know,
amazing.
they knew we were serious and do it. We weren't out there getting in trouble. You know, we go to school, come home, do our homework, and we go to practice. That was it.
So just you had that conviction from a very young age.
Yeah, and I never stopped doing it. Never stopped.
And so, I mean, we all, life happens and that there's challenges and things come. What has been one of your greatest challenges, in your career, and how did you, navigate that, overcome that?
Um, Actually, one of the biggest challenges was moving from the East Coast to the West Coast because I came out here by myself.
Oh, you
You
did?
know, yeah, I moved out. I had a friend of mine, was a drummer friend of mine. We had a top 40 band back on the East Coast called A Taste of Sin. my my buddy Tony Lindsay, who passed away quite a few years ago now. They lived in Albany, New York, and um, after the band split up, Tony's dad, he said, I got one living brother, an Italian family now. I only have one living brother who lives in San Jose. He said, I want to spend the rest of my days out with my brother. So they picked up the whole family and moved to California. They moved to San Jose, South San Jose. So after the band split up with me and Tony, um, I tried to pick a couple places that I wanted to check out to move because I knew I needed to move on from upstate New York. I'd done all I can do there. So I checked out Raleigh, North Carolina, went down there, and it was a situation that happened and went, I don't think I want to live here. So I had Washington, D.C. on that list, Raleigh, North Carolina. Um, California was the last one on my list. And after the experience I did down in had in North Carolina, I crossed everything off that was on the East Coast. I called my buddy Tony and I said, "Hey man, could you do me a favor? Could you ask your parents if I can come out there and stay with you guys till I get on my feet?" He
Wow,
called me back so quick. It was like not even 2 minutes. He said, "Yeah, man." He said, "Folks said, come on out, bring it."
that's awesome.
So yeah, I shipped everything I had. I shipped the UPS out ahead of me. I came out to California with a $5,000 cashier check because I worked my butt off back then to save some money. And Tony's parents had us set up in their garage. That was our bedroom,
That's awesome.
and the rest is history.
The rest is history.
And
That's
never turned back.
that's so that but that doesn't say, like, again, it wasn't a challenge. What was the challenge about that? I mean, coming from, of course, moving across the country, but what was the greatest challenge once you got here?
Well, leaving everything that you knew.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that
can.
was hard. I mean, all my relatives are back there, all of them. So I came out here. How many miles away from the New York is California, and I'm the
3,000
only one.
maybe?
You see, so it was sink or swim, and I was determined not to sink.
Well, and there you go back to the determination, the conviction that you have to succeed.
Yeah.
And, are there times where, I guess, I want really, what I want to ask is, like, how do you stay inspired to continue to create music?
You know, uh, after you write a song, you want to write another one because I can't believe that I wrote as many as I have. So I go because I never had any really formal training when it comes to all of that stuff. I
Wow,
just I just feel it. I feel it, and I have my own studio that I use for my writing purposes. It's in San Francisco, and people, hey, can I come up? No, 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 no. I don't rent out no time, or I ain't having nobody come in there, you know, thinking that they're gonna be creating some stuff with me. No, when I go in there and I concentrate and try to create stuff for myself. But I do have a co-producer by the name of Randy Imata, who is one bad dude,
I love it.
and he just enhances everything that I do. I do my demos, I send them down to him so he can just fatten things up and get everything. to the level that where when it comes across on the radio, then it sounds it's radio friendly, you know. But he me and I've been working with Randy for good lord, probably 15, 20 years now.
Wow. I listened to Never Yesterday so many times because just so
Mhm.
soulful and so relaxing and so just it put me in that flow, and it reminds me of, growing up listening to, like, Luther Vandross and,
Yeah, yeah.
Jackson. So you kind of put me back in a, you took me back yesterday for a bit.
Good.
So the track was
I try
amazing.
to I try to do that with all of my stuff. You know, I'm born in 1954, so you know the music that we had in the 60s and the 70s. Oh man, there's nothing better than that. You know, so that's where my roots are.
Yeah,
You
and I
know,
love.
that's 60s and 70s stuff, and you know, I like the Intruders and the Stylistics and Teddy Pendergrass and Luther Vandross and Donny Hathaway and you
It's
know, I mean, I can go on and on and on. Al Green forever.
Oh, yes. It was
I
awesome
like
coming to see you the other night, and then I see that you're performing, and so I'm like, I wanna go to every, performance. I can't make it, but I love,
yeah
like, how you're just out, every it seems like every night, there's a
yeah
performance somewhere.
something doing and you know we just did jazz stuff
Oh, yeah, I remember I
at that
talked to you
venue.
right after.
Yeah, because we I mixed it up with doing jazz stuff, doing R&B stuff, and doing the Latin stuff. I mean rock stuff.
Mhm.
I try to do it all. I might even do me a country album at one time.
Hey, why not?
Hey,
So
I
so
love it.
what's your secret? Like, you're always fun and young at heart and just have this great energy. Like, what's your secret to staying that way? Because I mean, we're all human. We're gonna have our moments and our down days, and
That's
but
true.
you just definitely you're always keeping it fun, and your energy is always magnetic.
Well, you know, going to the gym and working out and all that kind of stuff, and you know, eating right and trying to get your rest, all of that, you know, eh, it all plays into you know how you're going to feel and your attitude and everything. You know, it's like you got to do that kind of stuff, and a lot of guys don't. They just don't take care of themselves. You know, and I have some bad days, but I try not to dwell on that stuff too long. You know, it's like hey, you can always stop and start over again.
That's right. That's true. That's true. And so when you
Yeah.
do have those bad days, you allow yourself that time to just, be in what you're feeling, or do you do something to just, okay, like, I gotta get out of this? What do you do? Do you
Yeah.
just give yourself some time or what?
Well, you know what though? I'm gonna tell you. Sometimes, especially when the first thing you do, it starts out bad. You gotta go. Uh-oh, is the rest of the day gonna be like this? And then sometimes it's like, if that happens, maybe it's just best not to do anything else the rest of that day.
That's true. That's true. And I've learned also from, one of my, great mentors, where it's like, okay, Grace, it's not a bad day, it's a bad moment.
Yeah,
Okay, it's a bad moment. Don't allow the rest of the day to don't allow yourself to don't let the bad moment take your power away and make it a bad day. And I think
right.
that's just part of life. Life ebbs and
Uh-huh.
flows, and it's our choice. Like, how do I want to respond to what's happening to me right now? Because, like you, like, I really want to continue to surround myself, with positive people that are doing cool things to help, continue to move forward and create and make an impact and serve.
Yeah, you got to just make sure that what you're doing, that you're sticking close to what your purpose is. And you know,
Yeah,
if you start out doing it, if there's like you try to do two or three things that day, and then everything is just like not working out, it's like you know what? Let's try again tomorrow. Go go to the beach and go there, sit there, look at the ocean, or
I
just go
love
do something else. Go shopping.
I go shopping. I'll go shopping. I love that. You just said a word, purpose, and I've been, I don't wanna say struggling with the word, but I think whenever I hear the word purpose, or, in my studies and in my journey, and I would think purpose is like this big, huge thing, and I'd get overwhelmed. And recently I've taken the perspective, okay, okay, Grace, your purpose is, as long as you're showing up, being the best person you can, being the best
Hmm.
example, then that's purpose enough. Because when I thought of like bigger things, I just get overwhelmed and just I'd be like, ah, what is my purpose? So talk to me about purpose. What does it mean to you?
Um, I mean, that comes down to what you want to do and where you want to be in life. That's it. That's entirely up to you.
Mhm.
You can't let somebody else define what your purpose is.
That's
You
true.
have to know. You got to know that for yourself. Because I know what I want to do. It's all music. That's it. And it, the one thing that I'd like to have is have a Grammy with just my name on it. That'd be really nice.
Heck yeah.
Because that would be nice.
Why not?
But
And you
the
have that
but the
conviction.
radio, yeah. And I keep on moving towards that. And they getting that radio airplay, and I just love it. I hear stuff that come on the radio. I go, my song is just as good or better than that one. How come they got to play and I
Heck
didn't get it?
yes.
And I
Yeah.
want to know why.
And so when you say you wanna know why, then what do you do from there?
Keep on doing what I'm doing
That's it, keep showing up.
because like I said, somebody's listening.
You're
I know
right.
they are. There's a lot of independent radio stations out there that are playing the indie artists, and I'm gonna tell you, when you hear a lot of these indie artists, it's like, wow, how come that person's not signed? But these record companies, they're sitting around and they're listening to the stations that are playing our stuff, and I know they are. They have to.
Yeah. And so what I hear you saying is just keep showing up because you don't know who's
Yep,
listening. And I
that's right.
appreciate that, and I love that, and I keep have to reminding myself, and I had John Waldrop on a few, episodes back. He's amazing, and he's a big time attorney, and he said he was doing one of the biggest cases of his life. It was televised, and at the end of the day, him and his team lost the case. However, he said that failure, he was like, "I wanna, stop work," he's like he was thinking like, "I'm gonna stop, like, I don't wanna be a
Mm,
lawyer anymore." But what he didn't know was there was someone watching,
yeah,
and that person, he said it went from the natural to the supernatural because that person reached out to him and said, "Hey, I was watching you and your team," and he said, "Grace, that elevated me from the natural to the supernatural," and,
there
you're
you
saying
go.
similar again. So, for those of you watching, if there's, a dream in your heart or something that you really want to do, just again, thank you, Tony, for just the reminder of in that conviction. Just
You
believe
have
it
to do
without
it.
a doubt. Don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to, because no matter, whenever you want to do something good, there's going to be people that come drag you down. Um,
Yeah.
but there's also going to be those people that are watching. So I really love that you,
Well, a lot of people give up because they don't think things are going to happen. Once you give up, then it's definitely over.
that's true.
I've
You know,
I've never given up.
yeah. And I love, I mean, just continue to create amazing. Um, So for those of for people that are watching, what's one tip of wisdom you can give them about just a main factor of success? Like what would you say is the main factor to be successful?
Consistency and persistency. Persistency. You just gotta keep going. And you have to believe in yourself and put a good product out there. That's the big thing too, because you can't keep putting crap out there thinking that it's gonna do something. You whatever you're doing, take your time and try to get it right. That's because whatever you put out there now, once it's out there in the universe, it's out there.
That's
That's
true.
it.
That's true. I love
So
that.
do the best job that you can do, and you know, and you got one thing is too, you got to be careful about listening to friends because they're your friends, so they're gonna think that everything you do, oh yeah, that's nice. No, 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 no.
I
That's
know I
not
want
always the
the truth. Tell
truth.
me it sucks, please.
That's not always the truth. You know,
I love
there's
criticism.
oh yeah, there are ways of testing things, but sometimes friends and relatives are definitely not the ones to test them on.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I'm like, I want to know, like where I suck because I want to be better.
Well,
You're
doing what you see, you have a platform now, that you people can respond to and say, hey, you know what, because I'm sure that people that are your fans that are listening to this podcast, they probably make comments to you
Yeah.
on, hey, this was good, that wasn't good, that.
Yeah.
Get the feedback, get the feedback from your listeners.
Totally. And I love that, constructive feedback because we want to know like where could we do better, where could we do better, where can we improve? And I think it's helpful. And I like, not that I don't love of course I love the positive feedback, of course, who doesn't? But I like the constructive feedback because that helps us grow and definitely do better. So
Hmm.
I could be here with you all day, Tony.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm so grateful for you and I
Well, we can
appreciate.
do it. We can do it again.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, it
And
don't have to be
so
just now.
no, yeah, yeah, I'd love to have you back again and just tell our listeners, our audience, where they can find you, how they can connect with you, what's new, where are you next?
What's my next gig? I think it's supposed to be tomorrow night. I haven't heard from Jeff Tamalier yet. I have to send him a text. But my website is tonylindsay.com, and Lindsay is Lindsay. You can connect with me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I have two with the Tony Lindsay site, and then I have the Tony Lindsay, world-renowned singer of Santana, on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Alignable. I'm on. Well, now they changed it to X instead of it being Twitter. I don't know how long I'll stay there. We'll see how things pan out with this Elon Musk thing.
Oh yeah.
But I'm on. Where else am I? Wikipedia.
I saw that. And what we'll
Ain't
do
that a
is
trip?
I loved it. I loved it actually. And what we'll do is put all of your information in the banner once the podcast is live. But if you guys are interested in getting a hold of Tony, definitely reach
Yeah,
out to me in here. I'll definitely get you connected with him. And I promise you, go watch one of his shows. You won't be
yeah.
disappointed. He's
I'm
just
on
amazing.
LinkedIn. LinkedIn is another one I'm on too. So
Yes. And
I'm
we'll
on. I'm on every social media. I try to get on all of them
Yes, and I
because
and I'll
that's
that we'll
way.
definitely put all those there wherever, you're at, but if someone needs to find you right away, um, just Google Tony Lindsay and it'll take you right to his website. But Tony,
Yeah,
Kelly Green's with us today,
is that
and so
right?
is Kara Dash.
Wow,
So they love you.
wow.
Say hello. I miss you, Nia. Good to see you. So
Well,
for all
cool.
of those that are watching, Tony, thank you. Don't leave. Thank you so much for joining me. This was super fun, and I could totally be here hanging out with you all day. And
We'll do it again.
yes, and for all of you watching, thank you so much for joining us. As always, I'm so grateful because I know there are so many other places you can be, and I appreciate that you're here with us. And please, if you enjoyed this episode, definitely like and share it. You never know who can benefit from these nuggets of wisdom from Tony. I love you, Tony. Hang on with
Love
me,
you
and I
back.
love you all. I thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. And till next time, I'll see you soon. All take care. Hang on, Tony.